trying. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Paris Hart and Jason Williams for another episode of the Love of It podcast. Today we have a young artist who's been taking over the game by storm. To songwriting, to singing, to TikTok. This guy is everywhere. Today we have our friend from across the pond, Michael Aldag.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you so much.
Anytime. So the first thing I want to get into is your music is pretty deep. When did you become so comfortable with expressing yourself, and when did you become free saying, I don't care what anyone says, I'm going to express how I feel?
It's kind of, so I started writing when I was 14. So I guess it was around then where I just started like putting like, I guess my feelings into like super emotional songs. Which is just a really good way to deal with things. So I think but when I started writing then, I didn't really have any idea of like how kind of personal the songs were. I just kind of play them. But looking back now, it's like, and I'm more aware of it now. Do you know what I mean? If I write a song that's super personal, I don't know, like it's a weird thing, but I love writing and it helps me deal with a lot of emotions. So I think that's where it comes from.
But when you're writing, what comes first, the words or the emotions?
Mainly the words. So it'll be I guess the words and the emotions, but more the words first, then the music after. Do you know what I mean? So I'll have like lyrics in my phone that I want to write about, and then kind of base the music on that. I guess I like sometimes working with other people so they can do the music and I can just focus on the melody and the words. But generally when I write by myself, it's words first.
I saw that you produce. How did you get into that? Was it something that you just said, I'm gonna Google and find out? Were you training under somebody or what?
No, basically just like YouTube and stuff like that. I remember just being like, my guitar teacher, I think, told me like how to like, I can do that myself. So I was like, oh, sick, let me do it, because like studio time is expensive. Do you know what I mean? It gives you so much freedom, and like you're not reliant, or you're less. Obviously I still go into the studio, and like if I've got like a demo that I want to get produced super well, that's when I'll go in. But generally like it's good because I can execute like my ideas to a better point than I could if I couldn't record. Do you know what I mean? So but yeah, I just taught myself.
How hard do you say it is for people nowadays to find out, like not find out, but find their teachers, or like find like what works for them? Like, was it something that you always feel like you had to teach yourself, or did you feel like you just had the support?
I think so with production. I went to uni for like half of a year before I dropped out to do music full time, but I guess I was trying to study it there. A lot of it now you can just learn off like line, which is crazy. Like at university is a lot of money again. Do you know what I mean? To go and yeah. I kind of think if you have the determination and kind of are willing to just sit down and graft, do you know what I mean, you can kind of get to a similar point. So I think, yeah, but I've been supported a lot, like like people in the kind of scene around Liverpool have given me lots of opportunities to kind of grow and stuff like that. So it's not all been by myself, but you can do a lot of it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of it just comes from like playing in your room and that sort of thing.
Bet that. How important would you say it is to have a solid support system around you?
Oh, so important. So important. Like I'm really lucky. I've got two sisters who are like my best friends and support me with everything. And my parents are super supportive. I know I'm super lucky to have that. They've always supported like my ambition to do music since I've been young, and I couldn't do it without them. So I think like just having like friends around you who kind of understand if this is what you want to do. I think with anything, do you know what I mean? But especially with music, you need people who kind of understand that around you, so they can help you deal with it. And I'm very lucky, like I've got some really good friends as well who I can, and even just to play music too, like to kind of have that kind of sounding board to know whether something's really good or not, and you kind of become more sure of yourself then. I think, yeah, no, it's really, really important.
Do you feel like you're it's easy for you to keep your same energy, like, or is it easy to be like yourself when you're trying to do like business things in the music world, or like trying to like, you know, like that kind of side of things?
It's tough. It's weird. It's something that I've been dealing with like quite a lot lately. It's like, because there's a lot of things that as you kind of get further on in I guess the industry or whatever, or like as you move along in your career, there's more things than just, for me it just started off as me writing songs, do you know what I mean? And then I had to learn how to do social media to kind of get my songs out there. And then you have to like learn how to like collaborate with people on all different sorts of things, like creative things, non-creative things. Like you just have to have a lot like of, like everybody says it, but like persistence and self-belief, I think are probably the two most important things. And then obviously like you've got to love what you like love. You got to love doing it, otherwise you're not gonna, like there's easier like things to do if you don't love music, do you know what I mean, that you can go and do. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, that's it.
We've had some people on the show talk about how they love social media, and some people talk about how they hate social media. How do you feel about it?
It's both for me. I think like I love it because it's given me such a platform to get my music out there. Like I would not be where I am without social media and without TikTok specifically. But on the other hand, I think something that everybody deals with to a certain extent is like the whole thing of social media just being absolutely not awful for your mental health, but it can be if you let it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like and kind of having to be on it more to as part of like my job, I guess, is comes with like the things of trying to protect yourself from all the bad stuff that it comes with. So I think it's both, but like it's just about, I think in any job, not just music, a lot of things now, it's just so important. So it's kind of like, it's sort of a necessity that you've just got to kind of get used to, but it's all about like how you use it and how you don't let yourself get bogged down in it, I guess. But it's a constant battle. I'm sure you guys, I don't know, maybe you feel the same.
If you follow certain pages or you follow certain people, then you're going to get certain type of content. You know, you're choosing what you're going to see. And sometimes you gotta make an extra effort to choose what you shouldn't see.
Yeah, for sure. That's so true. That's really smart.
Yeah, man. Switching gears a little bit. When you were younger, did you always want to do music, or did you kind of feel like, okay, I do music on the side, I like making music, but here's what I actually do?
I think like when, so over here, I know that it's soccer for you, it might not be as big as like other sports, but over here, football, we call it football. It's like the biggest thing, and like every kid or nearly every kid, especially when I was growing up, was like everybody wanted to be a footballer. So when I stopped, like when I started to realize that I wasn't going to be a footballer, I think like it was about the same time that I started singing, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and I love the feeling of like getting up and performing on stage for people, and that's really cool. And then I guess I just stuck with it. I sang in a lot of choirs when I was young, and then when I was 14 I started writing, and then by that time I was out gigging and stuff, and I kind of realized that that's what I was gonna do. So it was a gradual thing. It wasn't just like overnight, but it was like I kept doing it and you know, was encouraged to do it, and I find a lot of, I think that's where my passion lies, especially at the moment. I think like things can change in your life, but I think that's where I get a lot of joy from my music.
Yeah, that's what's up. You've been following your dreams since you were a kid. I feel like not a lot of people get to do that. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like I'm lucky in some ways that I kind of I got to realize what it was that I wanted. Do you know what I mean? What my kind of passion was. And again, like it could change, because I know that in the future I want to do other types of writing and stuff like that. And who knows where I could be, or where anyone could be in like 5 years. But I am lucky that I've kind of found that passion quite early on, and have been able to pursue it. Yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Bet that. You brought up soccer. What team you watching?
Liverpool.
Ah, I'm an Arsenal fan, so.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. No, they're not doing too badly, I don't think, are they?
No, not too bad, but
They could be better. They could be better though. I was near the stadium the other day and I thought, oh my God, I wonder how they're doing. But yeah. Yeah, that's good. You should have you ever been over to England?
never. My engineers actually, he stayed there for a couple years and taught at uni out there, but
Oh, for
I got-
real?
yeah.
Yeah, you should come. It's really cool. I've only been to the US once. I went to New York. That was really cool. But I want to travel all around. I think like it's huge for a start. It's huge, but like yeah, it looks super interesting.
I was ready.
So is there anywhere specifically that you traveled that you're like, oh my gosh, that place is the best place to go to. I have to go there again.
A couple of places. I've been to Italy a couple of times, and Italy is beautiful. I remember going to a place called Lake Garda when I was quite young. That was like, wow, this is like breathtaking. But I don't do well with the heat at all because I'm so pale and like just get so like sweaty and out of it. So I kind of like the cold, and I like there's a place in England called the Lake District, which is up super north. So it's a lot like colder, and it's like just very cinematic, like big mountains and loads of lakes and like greenery and very peaceful. And I think like I love going there because it's like kind of you get to relax and stuff. So yeah, so I'd say like that out of everywhere that isn't my home, that has kind of a special place in my life.
So it's tough. You see, a lot of the UK traction has been getting played overseas lately and has been coming into the US really quick. Do you feel like you're gonna be a part of that wave, or do you feel like that is kind of just a sign that you're just when it comes, it comes?
I get what you mean. Obviously, yeah, like I don't know too much about it, but I love like drill music or more rap music, to be fair, more like grime. Do you know grime?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like grime stuff. But it's really cool to see that like UK music is spreading, because I feel like that hasn't happened before, or it has, but like not maybe for rap so much. Do you know what I mean? Which is cool. Obviously, I don't make rap music, but I still would like my music. Like I'd love to play everywhere in the world, so I want my music to, you know, to spread as far as it can. So hopefully hopefully I can kind of get on that wave, I guess. But yeah, I think it's really cool to, because I know that I like listen to so much American rap. Do you know what I mean? So it's weird to think like when I first started listening to music, I wouldn't distinguish between like, because you just have it on your phone, and I was just like, oh, this is cool, this is cool. I wouldn't distinguish between like like a Future song and then like a Skepta song. It's really cool. Do you know what I mean? To see that, because obviously we're a small island, to have like a big influence is really cool, and I hope that can happen with my music too. Fingers crossed.
What's something in your music, or what's something that you put into your music, like that's very intentional, that you want your fans and people listening to pick up on?
I think my lyrics, like I love lyrics, and I spend a lot of time thinking about lyrics, but like the lyrics are kind of like interesting, and maybe something that like you don't, not generic lyrics. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to write a song that's just like completely generic and nothing there. So I think like, but I'm like a super lyrics based person, because I first realized a couple of years ago. I was like to my friends like, oh, do you listen to lyrics? And they're like, mm. And I was like, what? Freaking out. I was like, what? This is a joke. But so yeah, I'd say like I always try, and that's the biggest thing for me, lyrics. I know that like I try and make the songs catchy and singable as well, but that I put a lot of effort into them, so I hope that they're good and kind of a bit different, and yeah, stuff like that. So I'd like people to tune into that.
So where would you say that your music comes from, and what genre would you put it in if you had to put it into one?
So I always say like electro pop. I would like to think that it's pop music. I know that some people tell me that it's like indie pop, and I guess maybe it is, but I'd rather it be pop. Do you know what I mean? Pop. But yeah, so I'd say it's like electro pop, but I'm super inspired by the 1975, the Killers as well. I know they're from over there, the Killers, and like Bastille. Do you know Bastille?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you close your eyes.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah. Super inspired by Bastille. So I'd say it's like that. It's in that kind of region. But again, like I listen to a lot of rap, and I think that might come through in more in the production. Obviously, I'm not rapping over any of my songs, thank God. But yeah, I think more in the production side of things, because I just cannot rap to save my life. I wish I could. I think it sits around there. I'd say it doesn't sway too far from that.
What's something that you're adding to your music like right now? What's something that you're working on, adding to your craft, like learning a new instrument, taking a class?
That's a good question. So I've been doing for the first year, I don't know, like ever since I started writing when I was 14, I've been writing just on my own mainly, and I've been quite like protective, and I don't want to kind of write with anyone else, because like I don't want to dilute my own kind of like voice and way of saying things. But recently I've wanted to start working with other people, which I have been doing, and like I'm really happy with some of the songs that have come out of it. Like they sound really cool, and so I guess that like co-writing with people, because you kind of get stuck in a bit of a rut where it's like this is either the same or very similar to something that I've done before, or this just isn't moving, or do you know what I mean? Like I still write like as much as I can on my own, but writing with other people, like because I'm not that good at production, so people who are really good at play, and I'm not really good at playing instruments. Like I can just like cobble together a few things on the keyboard, but like people who are really good. So I wrote with this guy called Max, who's super good on the keyboard, and like a producer called Mark, who and then it's like the song comes together so much quicker, so I can focus on like lyrics or melodies, and it's like okay, so I don't have to be there like plugging away trying to get the right sounding drum because Mark's already sorted it. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's really cool. And just writing with anyone, because you pick up different things from them and learn like different traits. So I think that's definitely something that I want to do more of in the future, because I think it helps your own writing as well. Do you know what I mean? It just diversifies your own kind of tools when writing a song, which is really cool. So I think that's probably my long-winded answer to your question.
No, it's a good answer. A lot of the people who we interview who have been in the industry for a while always say that it's always better to work with people while you're like coming up. So I feel like you're in the right step.
Dang, if you could work with anybody, who would you work with?
I'd love to work with the Killers. I think that'd just be like an absolute dream come true, because they're literally my favorite like band artist, full stop. But like to actually work with people, there's some cool producers over here. One called Fred again, who's really cool. And I'd like to kind of work with him, and the 1975. It'd be cool to work with them. But again, it's like these people are my like idols. So I think I'd just be like starstruck in the room and probably wouldn't be very useful like while we're actually trying to make anything. So like, yeah, but that would be like, if I could like control myself and actually work with them properly, I think those two would be like my absolute dreams. But there's loads, like I just want to work with anyone who's good and kind of like hardworking. Like I'll happily like go like do a session with and see what happens.
I'm switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice that you've heard that's like stuck with you?
I think like there isn't one that stands out to me, but for me, I find it super hard at some points, like super like I'd be like crying and like just like super low and like feeling like I'm up against it. But you've just got to. For me, it's like I and then I listen to like songs I've made, or think about like when I did my first shows, and it's like that's what I'm doing it for. Do you know what I mean? Like that is what I'm doing for, and maybe it'll work out, and maybe it won't. But I want to give it. If it's my passion, and I want to give it a go. Do you know what I mean? And I want to really, and I think like hopefully one day I'll be able to say like, oh yeah, give it a go, because it can actually happen. Do you know what I mean? And I'll have kind of had some level of success and be able to say like, yeah, just keep going. But yeah, basically just persevere, because it takes like as much as it takes like, I don't know, I guess talent and like, yeah, like talent and skill. It also takes like just absolute drive, do you know what I mean, to wake up every morning and be like, cool, this is what I'm gonna do again and again and again and again, and like never stop thinking about it. Like if that's what you really want to do, like obsess over it, do you know what I mean? And put, because I know that I rarely stop thinking about like music, and it can sometimes like really like like stress me out a lot. But I think like if I wasn't thinking about this, if I didn't have music, if I said, okay, let me stop it because it's stressing me out too much, I wouldn't be happy, because this is what brings me like joy. So I guess, yeah, that like if you have that, or if you have something similar to that, then don't let anyone who's kind of on the outskirts or anything like comments, don't listen to that. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have it super within you that that's what you're going to do, and like iron cast that's what you want. And then when you see things like that, it's not going to wobble you. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to move you. And I think that's what I'm learning. And over the past like month especially, I've kind of like, that's really developed. And I'm like, because when I first signed my like a record deal, it was like finding like what kind of music I wanted to make, and who I wanted to be. Sounds super cringy, but like especially on social media and stuff like that. I hope that made some sense.
No, it makes sense. I went through. I feel like a lot of people go through a lot of similar situations where you have to figure out, okay, is this something that I'm gonna like choose to do? Like I need something I'm gonna choose to do all the time. I gotta figure out what my thing is, and I feel like music is your thing that you chose what to do, and if you want to, honor your choices that you made in the past, you gotta keep doing it again. You feel me? Because there was definitely a version of you that wanted to do it.
Facts. And another thing that you touched on was hard, like the working hard. And I want to stress that to everyone listening out there, because there's so many people that might just make a song, release it, and be like, I'm an artist. It's like, no, that the work that you put in behind closed doors when no one's watching, in the moments when you just want to rip your hair out because you can't think of the note or you can't think of the lyric, like that's what makes an artist. And that's when that passion comes to it. Yeah. People just don't get big. People just don't get on shows. People don't get on interviews for just making a song. You have to have the love and the hard work behind your skill.
That's so true. That's so true.
But do you have any projects or anything that you have coming out in the near future?
So I've got a song coming out on the December the 3rd, called "Love of My Life," and it's like I like it. I think it's one of like the best ones that I've done yet. It's kind of, I guess it's about like when I wrote it when I was in university last year, and it was kind of about like getting with somebody who maybe you shouldn't have got with, and then like it gets a little bit complicated and so it's not a super deep song, but I think it sounds cool.
Yeah, where can the fans reach you at? Everyone listening to the video, they want to check out your music, check you out. Where can they get that?
So I'm on Instagram and TikTok, Michael.Aldag. So that's MICHAEL.ALDAG. And then on I think that's it. And then on Spotify, just Michael Aldag, and all the other like streaming platforms, just Michael Aldag. And on YouTube as well. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me on. I've had so much fun.
Yo, thanks for coming out, man.
Hey, this is Michael Aldag, and you're tuning into the Love of It podcast.